Alright, so hello everyone. It's been a while. The last time we saw each other, I was on Linux, but I recently made the switch to Windows once again. I made only like a few videos about Linux, and I was like, okay, Windows has apparently a method of getting Linux into it, which is really amazing. I figured I'm gonna show you guys how to set up the WSL or the Windows subsystem on Linux or for Linux on Windows itself. So I have written up a few notes, this should make it much easier for me to set up. I hope you guys are doing well anyway. One thing I want to do right away is in the description you should find a few links, or there'll be a link into a guide that I'll be writing real soon, and you'll go and have to open the first three links. The first one is for the C++ Runtime Framework package for Desktop Bridge. You want to install this, then this, and then this. So you want to install version 11, 12, and 14. After you've done installing all of these three, you have to reboot. So once you reboot, what you want to do is you want to open up PowerShell. So to do that, just type in PowerShell. It should be the first thing that comes up. You click this, which says run it as administrator. So pick run as administrator, give it some time, and this should open up something that looks like this. It isn't that scary. Let me just clear it out. So this is your command line. This is one of my favorite command lines within Windows, which will soon be replaced with WSL. You'll soon see why. So this was my go-to terminal replacement whenever I was on Windows, because you know the command line is powerful and stuff. Anyway, so to enable the feature, we need to first enable the Windows on Linux subsystem, or the Windows subsystem Linux feature as it's called. So what you want to do, you want to type in the first thing you'll see in the description, which says enable-windows optional feature-online-feature name Microsoft-Windows-subsystem-Linux. You want to type in that, click enter, and this will take a little bit of time because it's going to enable the Windows subsystem for Linux. So give it some time, just be patient, and there we go, it's been enabled. Also make sure to read these. If it says online true and needed restart or restart needed false, then it's okay. Next, we wanna, oops, I moved this by accident. Next, we wanna get the Apex image. So the way that Windows handles packages now within Windows 10 is with something called the Apex package. So the Windows Store, it's a Apex package. Minecraft Windows 10 edition, it's a Apex package. The calculator, which is within Windows, I don't have it installed because I removed it because I don't use it. It's a Apex image as well. The Photos app within Windows 10, a Apex image as well, an Apex package as well. So in order to install a package, if you don't have the Windows Store, because I removed it because I don't need it, so I don't have the if I type in store, it doesn't come up with anything because I do not have the Windows Store installed. I removed it using my utility I made recently. So I removed basically all the Apex images, and this is basically the alternative method of getting it installed. Anyway, so what you want to do, you want to type in the next command in the list, which will basically, it says invoke web request, which says, hey, I want you to download a file at this address and output it into the ubuntu.apex file and use the basic parsing. So basically do the basic transfer. Once we run this, it will show up a bar up here and says the number of bytes written. So what it does, it basically writes the web request, which uses the basic parsing, and it's taking the file that's located at this location, which in our case is the WSL-Ubuntu-1804 file, which is basically Ubuntu 1804 for Windows, and we're saving it as a ubuntu.apex file, which is the file that we'll use to install Ubuntu 1804 on our system. So we're going to have to wait a while before it gets downloaded. It's a fairly large package, so just be patient. So yeah, I'll be back once this finishes downloading. Okay, so one thing I want to mention while this is downloading still, this is how you can actually download the Windows subsystem for Linux distro packages. Basically, what we're installing is a distro package. The thing I chose is the first one up here, which if you look down in the left corner, it says the link that we have put into the beginning of the command. And basically what you can do is you can download the distro using this command line, which they use over here. And you'll basically change just this part of the link itself to the distro you want to use. So if you want to use, I don't know, Debian, you can get Debian installed. If you want to use OpenSUSE, you can use this link. If you want to get Fedora, which is a remix for WSL, you can get that. If you want to get Kali Linux, you can get that. It's basically up to you, and this makes installing the Linux distros much, in my opinion, much easier, which is really cool. There is also a method of downloading it using the curl, but I don't recommend that you use it. I recommend that you use the integrated PowerShell utility. It makes it much easier, in my opinion, and a lot less headache inducing. So yeah, the link will be in the description down there. I'm just gonna add it to my notes so I don't forget, so that we know where I got the file from. So there we go. Alright, so let me check. Okay, good. So now after that it's downloaded, what we can do is we can look for the package. So if we type in ls, it will list out a bunch of files inside of your system32 directory, because we were in the directory and we were downloading it. So I'm going to wait until, okay, and now we scroll up a bit. We look for U, and we should see soon that there should be our package. Here we go. So this line right here that I'm highlighting, you can see this is our Apex image. The date and the time when it was downloaded is just 1 minute ago on today's date. This is the size of the package, and this is the name of the file. So we'll scroll down and let's clear it out. So with that done, we need to now install the package itself. So what we need to do is type in add dash, there was Apex package, and then we do // and type in U. It will change into backslash, and then you type in Ubuntu Apex, or you can copy it from the notes and down in the description in the link itself, and then we just run this, and this is going to install Ubuntu for us, which shouldn't take that long. It should take just a few seconds. Also, this depends on your system, so just be patient. That's it. So now we go to the start menu and click under U. We should see Ubuntu 18.04 over here, or we could just type in or we can just type in Ubuntu 18.04. So if we open it, as you can see, it's now saying installing. This may take a few minutes. So we can close the PowerShell terminal now, because we do not need that. So we're going to let this do its thing, and I'll tell you what it's supposed to do. This will take a few minutes, so just be patient. I'll be back once it comes back, when it asks us for our username and password. Alright, so now it asks us for our username. I'm going to use the usual one I use in all of my Linux installs. So we're going to 47 for me. We're going to wait a little bit, and then ask us for our password. So we type in your password that you want to use. I'm not gonna tell you what my password is. It's going to ask you to retype it to confirm the change, and it's been set successfully, and that's it. This is Ubuntu installed. So to prove to you that it is Ubuntu, what we can do is type in uname -a It will say that it's on this is Linux on I Hate Windows PC. The kernel version is 4.4.0-18362-Microsoft. And these are the architectures. And then it says GNU Linux. Then what we can do is so we can do cat /etc and release. Okay, nothing like that. Okay, good. Well, that's not what I wanted. So basically, what you have to do now, so just clear this. So now what you want to do, once you get your Windows and Linux subsystem ready, you want to run sudo apt update. Type in your password. I cannot type apparently. There we go. So sudo apt update or sudo apt update. This will take a little while, and it will get all the updates that it needs. So just wait a little bit, because this will update basically our package list, so we can install some packages and prove to you that this is full-fledged Linux. So there are some Linux or Nix only utilities that you cannot get running on the Windows. I'll be installing 2 of those, which I know work only on the Linux and not on the Windows. And these are actually 2 more commonly known ones. So let me just clear this out. So the one that I'll be installing first is, so I'll be doing this by sudo or sudo apt install. And the first one I'll be installing is neofetch. So as you can see, it's installing, and the next one I'll install is htop as soon as this one is finished. So we just give it some time. And the next one we'll be installing is htop. It's already installed. So what we can do now is we can type in htop, and we should be able to see how much RAM my computer is using, and how much of all of these are occupied by Linux, and what our current resource use is. So my current resource use is I have a 16 gig page file which Linux identifies as a swap. And then there's my memory, which is the total system memory that you have in your system, which is around 4 gigs for me. I'm using more than half of it, and this is these are our CPU cores, so it communicates directly with our hardware, which is really cool. So the next one I installed was neofetch. So if we run neofetch, we'll be able to see all the packages that are installed, what our terminal is. One important note, this uses the default terminal TTY1, which is if you have a server environment installed, you will have this as your default terminal, and it's a device on the Linux. So this is your terminal essentially. Then it lists out your CPU and then the memory. As you can see, no GPU here because this is just a server environment, and it doesn't really need a GPU. I mean, your Windows install needs one, but this environment doesn't need it. So this is essentially a full-fledged Linux environment inside of Windows, and this is really useful for developers, which makes it really amazing. So yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I must go now. I have some things I have to do, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And make sure to wash your hands.